So this is the Troxus Trax LT. And honestly, the first thing that stands out is not even the motor or the smart features. It is the weight. The moment you grab the handlebar and start rolling it around, this thing immediately feels easier to manage than most commuter e-bikes. Troxus says it comes in around 57 pounds. And yeah, for an e-bike with a 500-watt motor, suspension fork, hydraulic brakes, and a full removable battery system, that actually changes the experience quite a bit. And what makes this interesting is that it still feels complete. So let's go through the whole thing, because after riding this around for a while, it honestly feels more refined than expected. Right out of the box, the setup feels pretty clean and organized. You have the main bike box, then a separate accessories box with the smaller parts packed properly instead of thrown everywhere. Inside you get the charger, pedals, reflectors, hardware, while most of the bike already comes assembled. Once the wrapping comes off, the bike already looks pretty polished. Its hydroformed aluminum frame has a softer and cleaner shape than a lot of bulky commuter bikes. And because this is the step-through frame, it immediately feels approachable. And honestly, that lighter 57-pound weight becomes noticeable immediately during setup. You can turn the bike around easier, lift the front slightly while lining things up, and generally handle it without fighting the weight the whole time. Assembly itself stays simple. Install the front wheel, straighten the handlebar, attach the pedals, tighten everything down, and you are basically ready to ride. The internal cable routing also helps the bike look cleaner during the process because you do not have cables hanging everywhere. You hold the power button for a couple seconds, the color display lights up, and now you can start cycling through the assist levels right from the controls. Standing next to the bike, the overall design honestly feels balanced. It looks modern, but it does not try too hard. Some commuter e-bikes start looking oversized once they add bigger batteries and motors. This one still keeps a fairly natural bike shape. The 27.5 by 2.2 inch Kenda tires help a lot with that because they are wide enough for comfort and stability, but not overly chunky. So the bike still looks quick and nimble instead of heavy. The riding position also feels very commuter focused. The handlebar has a 35-degree back sweep, so your arms sit naturally instead of forcing you forward aggressively. Pair that with the ergonomic grips and the wide 200mm comfort saddle, and the whole thing feels relaxed almost immediately. Beyond the physical design, the bike also has built-in GPS tracking, geo-fence alerts, and security monitoring through Ride IQ app. So the ownership experience doesn't really stop when you lock the bike and walk away. Then, its adjustable seat post is another thing we like because not everybody rides the same way. You can raise things up for a more upright position or lower it slightly if you want a sportier feel. And this bike definitely feels built for actual daily use. You already get full fenders, an adjustable kickstand, integrated front and rear lights, plus a MIK-compatible rear rack for cargo accessories or bags. Troxus also rates the payload at 285 pounds, so carrying groceries, backpacks, or extra gear does not feel like an afterthought here. Then there are the brakes. Honestly, seeing Tektro hydraulic brakes with 180mm rotors front and rear at this price still feels refreshing, because this is one of those features you genuinely notice every single ride, especially in traffic. So the Trax LT IQ uses a 48-volt 500-watt rear hub motor with 50 Nm of torque, and the delivery feels smoother than expected. You get 5 levels of pedal assist, and you can see the speed changes directly on the color display while switching modes with the controls. Lower assist levels feel relaxed and efficient, while the higher modes give the bike noticeably more urgency once you start accelerating. And through the Ride IQ app, you can switch between ride configurations and even change the bike from its standard Class 2 setup to Class 3, where regulations allow. So rather than being locked into one riding style, the bike can adapt a little depending on how and where you ride. There's also an extra button in the handlebar for switching between cadence and torque mode. And once you switch to torque mode, the bike suddenly feels much more connected because the motor reacts based on how hard you pedal. During normal riding, torque mode honestly feels more natural overall. Battery capacity sits at 48 volts and 10 amp hours, which equals 480 watt-hours using Samsung cells, and Troxus rates it for up to 55 miles per charge. Realistically, range always changes depending on rider weight, terrain, assist level, and throttle use. But for commuting and daily riding, this honestly feels practical without constant charging anxiety. Out on the road, this bike immediately feels easy. To make the ride easier on rough pavement, it has Zoom suspension fork with 65mm of travel. Pair that with the 2.2-inch tires, and smaller cracks or bumps stop feeling harsh through the handlebar. The Shimano Altus 8-speed drivetrain also works nicely here because gear shifts stay smooth and predictable while changing assist levels. During repeated brake tests from different speeds, the Tektro hydraulic setup feels controlled every single time. You get smooth modulation instead of that sudden grabby feeling cheaper brakes sometimes have. And because the brake sensors instantly cut motor power, the bike settles down very naturally during stops. Then, after riding for a while, you start noticing smaller things too. The upright geometry keeps pressure off your back and wrists, the saddle stays comfortable longer than expected, and the overall bike just feels calm underneath you. It does not constantly try to feel sporty or aggressive, it just feels easy to live with. What really separates this bike from a lot of other e-bikes is Ride IQ. After spending time with it, we stopped thinking about it as an app and started thinking about it as part of the bike. Because Ride IQ is involved in almost every stage of ownership. Before a ride, it can automatically wake the bike up as you approach. During the ride, your phone can even serve as a live display, while the app gives you access to battery data, range estimates, ride history, and deeper tuning for pedal assist power and torque delivery. So the bike feels a little more personal, because you can actually shape how it responds to your riding style. But where Ride IQ becomes especially valuable is when you're not riding. Through the built-in 4G connection, the bike stays connected even when it is parked somewhere across town. You can check its location, create a geo-fence, receive movement, or tampering alerts. And if something does not look right, remotely disable the bike from your phone. There are even notifications if someone removes the battery, plus a locator function that can flash the lights and sound the horn when you need help finding it. What we like most is that none of this feels like technology for the sake of technology. It solves real ownership problems. It helps you keep track of the bike, gives you more control over how it rides, and through over-the-air updates, it can continue to gain improvements long after the day you buy it. That is what makes Ride IQ feel less like a companion app and more like a connected platform that sits at the center of the entire e-bike experience. The Troxus Trax LT IQ honestly feels like a commuter e-bike built around real everyday riding instead of just chasing specs. The lighter 57-pound frame changes the ownership experience more than expected. The smooth motor tuning makes city riding feel calmer. The hydraulic brakes add real confidence in traffic. And the Ride IQ features actually feel useful instead of gimmicky. You just get on, start riding, and everything feels natural very quickly. And honestly, for a commuter e-bike around $1,799, that balance of comfort, lighter weight, smart features, and everyday practicality feels pretty well judged overall. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more bike reviews.